Let's do a checklist of who it is that we have here. Do we have the happiest Roy I have ever seen? Is he here? Yes or no, Roy?
Yeah, I just woke up finally. What happened?
All right. Good talking to you. Good.
He's here, though.
He's hungover, and he's happy. You wouldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to tell by his general lack of charisma, but he is happy.
Oh, that hurt.
We've got Chris Cody smelling like beer and toothpaste.
Let's go, Daniel.
Is he here? He's been screaming at everybody. He's going to make winning sports fans can be obnoxious. I'm worried about Chris Cody today.
Well, we were obnoxious when we were losing, so imagine now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Bandwagon Billy back there. Do you have pots and pans? Are there any pots and
I have
pans
my
back
car,
there?
yeah.
You left them in your car?
Well, I did go out last night to celebrate, of course. Why wouldn't I?
Very nice.
Yeah.
You have the right colors on today.
Well, I mean, we have an important meeting. I didn't want to dress like a clown. And also, I didn't want... Listen, if we're going to be honest, today's the day all the casuals wear all of their Panthers gear that they've been collecting over the years and come out and pretend like they're these giant Panthers. I mean, you walk out here and you'd think that you were at the friggin' Amarant whatever car center. Everybody's wearing these Panthers things. People still have tags on their clothes. Like, everybody's in Panthers gear. I've never seen any of these people wear Panthers clothes today. I'm not going to stoop to that level of casual fan where I just put on my Panthers clothes. I'm here to support the guys. And you, Dan.
Chris, do you know how in the checklist when they're going to send a rocket into space at NASA, they just go to the person and check?
Capcom.
If they go to Billy, it's like, and outside I had my raincoat and I was worried about how much fire was going to come from the bottom of the rocket, and he just keeps talking.
Tell you what, Challenger would never happen to me.
Is hungover Mike Ryan
never take off
in a state that he can do this? Those last 20 minutes lasted about 17 years.
Oh, wow.
He's here.
Thank you. We've got Zaslow here,
Yo.
voice of the Panther fan.
Yo.
Boy, really?
He's all over ESPN. What do you mean, really? What, you don't want
Voice of the Panther fan? I mean, he traded Barkov a year ago.
Hey, Zaz.
That's
Yes.
Big game?
Oh, my God. Last night, I don't know if you guys heard. I did big game, not big game. It was a big game. It was a big. I thought about it. It was a big game.
We've got Stugotz here. He is shaking the dead off. And Chris Cody, we have the star of the Stanley Cup final, your father. He's getting in position right now. He is not here right now, but he is in the vicinity very closely as we try to celebrate with Greg Cody, who's gone full homer, by the way. He's like pretending, Chris. He's trying to pretend. He just asked me for permission to place this photo of him holding the Stanley Cup trophy in the Miami Herald.
He's fine with this photo.
Yes, this photo he's fine with. All right, after we mocked him last night because he complained, Stugotz, you weren't here, but he complained that a photo of him in the hospital was invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
It was a photo he released from the hospital.
He invaded his own privacy?
That's right. He invaded his own privacy and was mad at everybody else.
How did people get this photo?
It's a really bad look for him. He's got to learn to control his emotions. He behaved like a giant infant yesterday.
Greg Cody is in position, and I have here in front of me some people writing in because they were watching hockey last night, and they were watching it vicariously through the show. Somebody writes in, first time in 15 years I've seen Roy smile. I'm crying. Somebody else writes in, was only pulling for the Panthers because of Roy. Love that guy. Only downside is that Mike is also happy. Another upside, though, is that Greg Cody won his war against Canada.
Yeah.
Congrats to only Roy. Mike Ryan lost faith and gave up on his team. Greg and Dan believed, but no congrats to them, only for Roy. McDavid makes history, and somehow Cody still wins.
Yep.
They were trying to make that a thing, right? This whole McDavid guy. Like, the NHL wanted him to be good so bad.
He wouldn't even come out to get the trophy he didn't want.
Why would he?
You can have that one.
I mean, it's a bad look.
How?
Jaguar came out for the last time. Look, I was there. There were a lot of Oilers fans out there waiting for that moment. McDavid should have skated out and done it for them.
They look like such losers, by the way. On TV, cheering him winning the Conn Smythe when they just lost the Stanley Cup. Giant losers.
They were pretty classy. They were pretty classy, all things considered, and they were out there specifically waiting. It was pretty cool, like, because he didn't come out, they still stayed there, because that's one of the great traditions in that sport. You want to see Lord Stanley, no matter what. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to get to see it in your life. It would have been nice nice for him to skate out and give the Oilers fans that came out in droves that moment.
You are right that place was awfully Edmonton loud after Edmonton scored its goal. And you're also right that it's a bad look, but that's a superhuman person being maximum human. Like, I get.
Oh, he was plenty human.
Dude,
5 out of 7 games.
I'm borrowing, I don't have a lot of precedent for a losing team in a Game 7 having a Conn Smythe winner on their team. There's no real protocol for this. I was just borrowing from the last time this happened with Jaguar against the Devils. He came out, and I think that if he could do it over again and give the Oilers fans that moment, maybe he'd reconsider, but that's the last thing he's thinking about there. I get why he did that. I'm just saying, like, those fans that came out, and they were legion, and it really set up for an amazing dynamic because most of them, they were in the lower bowl too, but it wasn't Rangers level lower bowl, it wasn't Bruins level lower bowl. They were pretty much, upper deck was oil country, and to have, like, the dueling cheers and boos from the upper deck down was such an intense crowd, and that's why people call that the best 2 words in sports, because that was an atmosphere that I've never really experienced in my life.
I will give you again that it was a bad look. I will not give you that you can tell anyone how to behave not emotionally over the last few days. Other people write in, damn, Mike is totally going to have to apologize for at least one of the pals he threw at Greg Cody.
This isn't about me, guys.
Somebody else
about
writes,
Greg,
and somebody else writes.
It's only about Greg.
There's also pending litigation, so you got to be careful.
Right.
Let's see if
Lawyer
let's see if he's still singing that journalists aren't a part of the story crap when they go on the air today. And somebody else writes in, I've been a Florida Panther fan for well over 5 weeks, and I've never been happier.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let her tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Fans to their feet. Bouchard, pass missed Draisaitl. Down to our right, Forsling in the corner. He'll try and hold this. 10 seconds left. 2-1 Panthers. A dream 30 years in the making is a reality. Whoa! The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup.
Lord Stanley is coming home. You always will have a place in South Florida. Oh, my God.
The Panthers have won the Stanley Cup for the first time in franchise history.
Yeah!
Start the celebration, South Florida. The Panthers have done it.
Stanley Cup champions!
He's Mick overrated, Greg's exonerated. That's Connor McDavid. Greg made a take, stuck to his guns, and then the Ice Cats won. They were up 3-0, lost 3 in a row, and we weren't having fun. Back in Sunrise, we got right and punched out your lights. So sleep tight with Gun Smite. Lord Stanley's ours tonight. Oh, you know he's Mick overrated, Greg's exonerated. That's Connor McDavid. Oh, he's Mick overrated, Greg's exonerated. That's Connor McDavid. He's Mick Let's put up billboards now.
Obviously, it is always very cool to win a championship. Cooler if you've been enmeshed in what the history of your franchise is. The voice you heard on the radio was Billy Lindsay. It is literally the first Florida Panther playoff memory I have is Billy Lindsay. To hear him screaming like that because his soul has left his body because of what it means to him. I'm thrilled that we've got Zaslow in with us today. He's been all over ESPN as the voice of the Florida Panther fan, even though he traded Barkov a couple of years ago.
I repented for that already. Let it go.
1 year ago. No.
Let it go.
Okay.
Didn't like Bobrovsky a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Maurice was the murderer of fun. Now he's maybe my all-time favorite coach.
Somebody writes in, I'm just glad we live in a country where Greg Cody can now sue everyone who ever doubted him. And then I fear this today. I can't even be happy for anyone because the annoying people outweigh it. This is what angers anyone in North America whenever South Florida wins anything. That I don't know if more people, I'm gathering that more people would be watching this today if they'd lost, correct? That the better result for numbers is to come and sink in and laugh at Roy and laugh at Mike and laugh at Bandwagon Billy.
Excuse me? I got a text this past weekend from someone, and it said only Miami fans can make Edmonton Oilers America's team. And I thought that they were probably right.
We've got Greg Cody is taking a victory lap outside somewhere, and we're waiting. A number of things have gone wrong over the evening. We got the dimensions wrong for the billboards. Otherwise, they would already be up. Of course we did.
Right.
Like, of course we did.
Really? That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do as a company. And Greg Cody is somewhere outside taking a victory lap, and we will have in moments a hungover driver moving him nearby in a personal parade that Greg Cody is not outside doing yet. He's just in the other studio.
Need permits.
Not doing it. You need permits to
for parades, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Why is Greg Cody just sitting in the other room as opposed to being outside with the victory parade that we were doing for just him? Why is he sitting in the other room?
It's a good question. He's just standing there.
Well, I think Greg Cody at this point feels like he can do whatever he wants to do. I mean, he was right. He wrote the column. He had everyone talking, and it turns out that Greg Cody was 1,000% correct. He should have won the Conn Smythe.
Just out of curiosity, were the dimensions too small or too big? Because I'm trying to envision if it would be great if we just saw like a corner of the intended billboard, or if we just saw like a little tiny billboard in the middle with a lot of like blank space around it.
They were just wrong. The dimensions were simply wrong.
Can I ask what the billboard is, or do we want it to be like a grand surprise?
It's just celebrating Greg Cody. That's all it is. Roy, how are you feeling right now?
I'm sure that'll go over in Edmonton.
Good. Thanks for all
you
your
were drinking? Weren't you working?
I was working and drinking at the
Did you
same
drink
time.
from? Okay,
Working
don't say
and
Really?
drinking.
What?
Yeah, I can do that.
Did you drink from the cup?
No, the cup left before. Like, they got that cup out of there pretty quickly, man.
Did you touch it? I mean,
I didn't get to touch it, no.
really?
No, all the players got to touch it before I did.
Yeah, seems right.
Yeah, seems like it makes sense. Yeah.
Mike Ryan, how did your evening go?
I made an impulse buy on Game Time, and I wanted to enjoy that with my wife, no matter the result. And I told myself, like, right before scanning Game Time, because we were about to take my daughter to my dad's to watch her for us to watch the game. And I said, you know, if my team wasn't in this, that's a place that I want to be. I love puck. I've been in an arena when they've handed that trophy out before, and it's so cool. And I know it would sting like hell if this is the greatest collapse in pro sports history in a best-of-7. But once you get some separation from it and that pain, if he comes back, it's the game's greatest player capping off the game's greatest comeback. And that's something that you have, and that's a conversation starter. That's whenever you get around with your hoser friends, you get to say you were there. And on the opposite end of that is the franchise's first Stanley Cup. And it was beautiful, man. We wept. We celebrated with people in that organization. I got to tell you, I was really touched. I got a DM the second it hit 000 from the dude that gave me my internship at a high school. His name is Connor Tinnis, and I want to shout him out. That experience at a high school working for the Florida Panthers really shaped me in a lot of ways, because I went into a franchise that was undergoing a lockout and there were massive layoffs. And it wasn't, if we're not for that experience, I wouldn't have valued the loyalty that I found on this show and the job security I had in this show so much, I might have made different career choices had I not been granted that internship under Michael Yormark in the Florida Panthers. And it was like it was a sweet emotional moment. It's like after you have a kid, you find yourself crying a lot for different things. And I'm not sure I was crying so much for the fact that we had won the Stanley Cup or the fact that we had gone through this incredible journey, but it was an amazing outpouring of emotion. I was really happy for a lot of those people that have been with that franchise for a very long time, Dan.
We're going to talk to one of them here in 5 minutes. Our friend Randy Mohler has been careening through the streets, foggy from whatever it is Celebration and Temptation are. He's been partying for many years inside and around hockey, and he's going to join us in a couple of minutes. But Zaz, one of the things that I thought was the coolest about everything that happened last night, and in setting it up, one of the things that I had mentioned was you've now gone before Game 7 from a team that nobody in the world wanted to win to a team that nobody thought could win. We just saw that happen over 7 games. I think that part is cool enough, but this is the part that has to make Panther fans feel a special kind of special. This was earned. It wasn't injuries all over the place. You beat the best at his best, and in the last 2 games, you smothered him. And at the end of that game last night, McDonough's screaming, the Oilers are exhausted. Yep. You've got a minute left in your season. Here, go take it from the Panthers. You can't, because they did what they do in the third period. They just buried you. And at the end of that game, playing more minutes, more desperate, their best was not good enough. You beat the best at his best.
It really was the blueprint, really all year long. Starting in training camp, where I've heard the stories that Paul Maurice drilled them so hard in training camp to make sure that they are the best conditioned team. I mean, like Herb Brooks, Team USA style. The worst, hardest training camp that a lot of these players have ever been through. And it was to get to that moment where, yeah, they've been a great third period team all year long. And going into the game last night, I was just envisioning, all right, can we, because of the way the last 3 games have gone, can I be within a goal going into the third? Just, I don't have to be ahead. I didn't expect to be ahead.
You would have taken that?
I was hoping we'd be tied going into the third. But I would have taken, can we be within a goal in the third period? And we will outlast them. And then we went to the third, and we're ahead a goal, and it's like, oh, my God, can we just play them even for the final 20 minutes? And by the way, those 20 minutes, it was the slowest 20 minutes of my life. It was the most anxiety I've ever had. I mean, I'm on the verge of a panic attack every time the Oilers had full control of the puck in the zone, which was seemingly all 20 minutes of the third period. And then McDonough's right. And when he pointed it out was perfect, because right when he says it, that the Oilers are out of gas, you look at them, they're barely moving. And by the way, McDavid was on the ice. It seemed, I think statistically he was on the ice for 10 of the 20 minutes in the third period, which is crazy. He was always on the ice, and they couldn't move anymore at the end of the game. And guess what? The Panthers, they were fresh, and they were fine at the end of the game. It was so beautiful. It was the blueprint.
And there were layers to prevent the puck cycling and doing all the Connor McDavid fancy things that we had seen throughout there.
He had some chances, though, Mike, late in the game.
Where were you when Aaron Ekblad stopped Connor McDavid on a 1v1? Because my soul left my body at that moment. And I got to tell you, there has never been an arena that needed the first goal in a game more than that building.
Was it loud?
Dude, there was no path to victory if the Oilers scored first. None. Negative aura, bad vibes, toxicity in our city.
You guys did this before the game, too.
They can say it now.
They can say whatever they want, but all I saw is that the Oilers took it back 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
They took the one goal, and you were right back in the same position you were in, fearing they'd get the second one.
That third goal was the goal.
No. The Oilers simply couldn't score first. And I someone that was there, no one looked up. Oilers fans were feeling themselves, talking all their garbage as they should have been because they were riding high. That was a nervous place. There was a lot of liquid courage that got people up for puck drop, but that place needed the Oilers to not score first, to come alive and realize that, okay, this is just a fourth chance in 4 to get one. Let's do it.
I was surprised at how loud Edmonton's goal sounded. Edmonton had a whole lot of people.
Well, it started, though, with the anthem. That was when you noticed, right? The anthem was so loud, singing the Canadian anthem. Like, whoa, there's a lot of them there.
No, both anthems got sang by the fans.
But I think we were inspired by how loud they were. When do we ever, in any of these buildings, not just here, when does the American national anthem ever get sung by the crowd?
It took them being patriotic for us to be patriotic.
I am curious. I am curious how that translated over the television, because there it kind of felt like this is a moment. The Canadians,
it was awesome,
pulling ahead of Alanis, and Alanis trying to slow them down.
Bad face by the Canadian fan. I mean, keep it tuned. Come on.
Yeah, and
Alanis did a bad job. If we're going to be honest. Legends did a bad job.
You got to let them have it.
Did a bad job.
You got to let the Oilers fans have it, and you lay out.
With the national anthem, bad job too.
But when she did the U.S. anthem, the Panther fans caught what had happened previously, and anytime they started speeding up, they slowed it right back down to catch it.
There's an intelligence level there. You could tell. There's an intelligence level.
Aren't you Canadian?
I have dual citizenship. I was born here.
Just like Alanis.
Yeah, just like Alanis.
Billy, what are your overall thoughts on Alanis?
No, she didn't do a good job last night. I don't think anyone can argue that she did. Do you think she did a good job?
Well, she did a good job by showing up. I was surprised to see that kind of star power in Sunrise.
She was in town. She had a concert like the night before.
Panthers fans were
Sunrise.
Cashing a check. Come on, get out of here.
Still surprised to see her in the Everglades.
Panthers fans were ready to crush that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, if they get out to a 2-0 lead, we're blaming Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something? So, speaking of the national anthem and everything that took place before the game, how did we feel when it was announced that Roberto Luongo is banging the drum?
Not the greatest Game 7 record, but he's the greatest player in franchise history.
He should have been the guy.
It was a neutral for me.
He also did a bad job, right? Like, he went too fast.
No, that was like a 10 out of 10.
On TV, it seemed like he was banging it faster than the people
Doesn't
were saying.
matter. He had crazy
Did you watch the Euros? He was jacked up because of Italy.
He hit you with the LFG, like in the crowd.
He had crazy energy. See, I was worried that they were going to make it Luongo, and they did, and I was worried because he lost a Game 7 in goal for Vancouver, but then I realized, Dan, the theme of the team this postseason has been redemption. And you know what? Redemption includes that for Luongo as well, to redeem himself from Game 7 in 2011. So I was in on it.
He rang a bell.
No, he banged the drum.
Yeah, he banged the drum.
Have you watched the game?
I don't get 2 minutes for that. Get out of here.
Go sit in the penalty box.
I mean, Luongo didn't redeem anything.
Stugotz, you can't.
He wasn't part of the team.
Stugotz, you can't fly in from the dead and then ring a bell.
He is a part of the team. He's an employee.
You got to do better than that.
I drove in from the dead.
The bar is so low for you. The bar is so low for you.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Did you guys boo Wayne Huizenga also? Because that came out on TV and it was delicious.
No, they were booing Batman.
No, they booed Huizenga. Then there's a Huizenga. They booed Huizenga.
way.
Yeah, screw that guy. Love booing Wayne
Ringing
Huizenga.
a bell.
I love
Stugotz.
booing dead
A
people.
bell.
What?
Such a weird
What?
thing to love.
What? You love booing dead
Oh,
people?
yeah. I get the last laugh. You think you leave this earth and I'm going to forget about what you did? I will not, Wayne Huizenga.
Maybe Stugotz was confused because we did have that 6-game stretch where there was a monk ringing a bell before games.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
So he was 2-4.
Friar Puck.
He was 2-4. Friar Puck.
That was what a miserable time in Panther history that was.
Chris
He
Cody.
still had Burry on the team, too.
We have Randy Mohler coming in, and it really does always make me happy to see his face, but especially as radiant as it is today. Can you give us just a little bit of history that we have with Randy Mohler, who at one point in the Panthers' history was doing hockey on the radio and allowed our fans to make his goal calls for him?
McCabe back to White, top of the face-off circle, down the goal line to Stillman, over to Bowmeister, shoots, he scores! Run, Forrest, run! Bowmeister on the left point, steps in, wrist drop right on, they shoot, they score! She blinded me with science! Wrist shot, shoots, he scores! Wilson! Top of the face-off circle, fires the strike, shoots, he scores! Get off my lawn! Anthony Stewart with a turnaround shot that gets him behind. Eric Eresberg, you did the motorboat, didn't you? Into the high slot. Here comes Bowmeister. Shoots. He scores! Kelly Clarkson. Panthers get another power play goal. Ballard, quick strike. Shoots. He scores! Ball! The Meatloaf. Panthers with a power play goal. They got a 1-0 lead. They score! There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammond. Spire scores! Nathan Horton skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight. Weiss shoots, he scores! I'm never gonna dance again. Another shot, he scores! I feel like taking crazy pills. Open that, Stillman scores! Do you mind if we dance with your dates? Rebound and shoot, they score! Get in my belly!
Mohler, I can't imagine that you've ever felt quite this good about hockey.
Look at him.
Look at how happy he is. Give us the most emotional moments for you from last night. Who and where you connected with some of your vigorous and warm bear hugs.
It's great to be on with you guys. I can barely hear you. I think my ears are still ringing from last night and that celebration and on the ice and to be with this team and this organization. I tell you what, it was, Dan, you've known me for a long time. Stugotz back on the radio station and doing the shows and the games and the when the team was, oh boy, we've come a long way, but this twisted road is well worth it. I'm running on fumes right now, but to be a part of this, it's like everybody says, when you win a championship, it's surreal. You find yourself reminiscing about how you got to this spot. And I'm just so happy for this organization. They were able to turn it around, started with the Viola family when they purchased this team and how they filled in some critical positions and then built the team both on the ice and off the ice and in the community and that, and for the fans that have stuck with us and how we've been able to grow the game because this team has gotten better on and off the ice. And I'm just so grateful. I'm humbled to be a part of it. And I'm just elated. It's a strange feeling. And I just trying to soak it all in right now.
Did you touch the cup?
No.
What?
No. Last night is for the players, their families, the management, the hockey operations, and that. We'll get an opportunity, and that this sometime this week they're planning the parade and that. So I'll get my opportunity, and that I was very respectful about that, and that's a tradition that is once in a lifetime for these players and for a lot of the management and that, but I'll get my opportunity. I'm looking forward to something going on this hand on this finger right here. That's what I really want.
It's going to be a boat parade, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard the details. What's going to happen? I hear it's later this week. Then they're still in the planning. The planning stages, but you know it's going to be probably downtown Fort Lauderdale, and there's a reason why they call it Fort Lickerdale, so it's going to be quite the party.
Randy, I'm so happy for you, man. Obviously, I worked next to you for a couple years on that Panther radio broadcast. I know how much it means to you. I know how hard you work and just how much you love this franchise. So congratulations. I'm so happy for you, Randy. What were the closing seconds like for you? You've thought about it, what it could possibly feel like as the clock's running out and you have a lead in Game 7. What did those few seconds when they're pinning the puck on the board feel like for you?
Well, Zaz, you've got just a boatload of mixed emotions. Obviously, you're just so proud to be a part of this, and I think the biggest thing right now is I'll be honest with you guys. I was a little perturbed over the last few days. There was a lot of people that didn't give the Panthers a hope in hell of winning Game 7 after they had lost the 3 straight. And that hurt a little bit because these guys, you could see that it just wasn't working. They weren't getting the breaks. They were making a few mistakes. But you knew that the leadership of this team, the Barkovs, the Ekblads, the Kachucks, and that, to name a few, that you knew that they were going to come out in Game 7. And if they didn't win, they were going to leave it on the ice and they were going to give it everything they had. And I think we witnessed last night the Panthers, the way they play and why they're so popular with their fans. They're aggressive, they're fast, they're in your face, and they do whatever they can to win each shift and that was really at the forefront. So to tie it all in, there were so many, especially in Canada, the media, the press, everybody didn't give them a hope to win Game 7, and they proved them wrong. And I think I'm really proud that the reversal happened, because it's got to be tough. And these guys, they're human beings, and I'm sure that they read and heard about the doubt that was going into Game 7, and to get it done is very special.
Mike, is Barkov riding around Fort Lauderdale and Las Olas with the cup on a golf cart?
Yes, he's doing that right now. He's on a golf cart with the sparkling water in hand and the Stanley Cup.
Does
in the back
anyone
seat
recognize him? Because I was told that he was walking around.
I think they definitely recognize the cup.
Right.
But I'm not kidding.
I
was told the night before he was wandering around Las Olas and everybody was leaving him alone because nobody knew who Barkov was. I'm not making that up. Randy, who did you see last night that you were happiest for? We just played the call with Bill Lindsay, and he was, he was going nuts. Who were you happiest for visually as you wandered around through the emotions of the moment?
Oh, Dan, there was so many. The Viola family. Vinny Viola's had some medical issues lately. His lovely wife Teresa, she was carrying the dog around the ice. I thought that was pretty funny. Guys like Matt Caldwell, the president of the team, and then the players like Alexander Barkov, Aaron Ekblad. They've been here the longest. They've been through some of the darkest days when they first joined this team, when the team wasn't very good. And then special with being with Goldie. We've been together now for 28 years. He's my best friend. He's the best in the business. And we got some great pictures last night. Alumni, Billy Lindsay, as you mentioned, Ed Jovanovski, Roberto Luongo. And there's Barkey right there with a picture of him riding around in a golf cart.
Mohler, did you get weepy with Goldstein? Did you get weepy with Goldstein? Did your big bare eyes fill with tears? Are you capable of a human emotion?
I can tell you I got a little emotional. That's a lot of years, Dan.
Yeah.
Buddy,
I remember
to do that with your best friend.
Don't mock it.
To do that with your best friend, to the road trips, all those shitty teams you covered, all the hardship you guys got from shitty management.
The CPR line.
To have your best friend with you and share that joy with him, that's the coolest, Randy.
Well, I think one of the biggest satisfactions is we are having to broadcast this game, the games back in those days after your shitty radio program, and that was a ratings killer to begin with. So, it's all the memories, and it just makes it that much sweeter. People talk about you have to go through adversity and all the tough times to enjoy the good times and that. Well, believe me, I've been through it all. When there was 5,000 people in the stands and 2,500 of them got free tickets at Subway. Those days are long gone now, and I'm very proud of this organization where they came from.
Moles, how'd you feel about Connor McDavid winning the Conn Smythe Trophy?
Mixed emotions. He's the best player in the world. 42 points in the playoffs. He had an outstanding playoff, and there's no way that the Oilers get to the finals without him. But in saying that, and I'm putting my Panthers in my heart here, Sergei Bobrovsky, they would not have won the Stanley Cup without Sergei Bobrovsky, even though he gave up 3 goals, 4 consecutive games, 3+ goals, 4 consecutive games. He battled, kept him in, and we saw the true that we've seen so many times, Bobrovsky in game number 7. Connor McDavid didn't have a point in the last 2 games of this Stanley Cup final. He only had 1 shot in game 6. I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. I have nothing. I love Connor McDavid. He's done so much for the sport. He's a special player. But I think that the MVP should be awarded to somebody on the winning team, and that would have been Sergei Bobrovsky.
Randy, did you get any time after the game with Coach Paul Maurice? I mean, it was such a difficult transition for Panther fans last year when he was hired. I was so angry with him last year, and now I love him so much.
The murderer of fun.
I called him the murderer of fun all throughout last year, and I love him. I was dead wrong, and I can't be happier that I was dead wrong.
He's coached 2,000 damn games.
I love him so much. He was so amazing after the game yesterday. All of his emotions, you could see it when he was holding the cup. It's an unbelievable picture. Did you get any time with the coach after the game last night?
No, I didn't, because by the time I hang on a second here, I'm getting frickin' phone calls all over the place.
You just want to sleep. I mean,
because it was chaos on the ice. By the time I got down there, and that he'd already lifted the cup and he left. I got a hug from Bill Zito, and I mentioned a bunch of other people and that. But I'll see Paul. He's a special coach with a unique personality, and it's been so much fun being with him. He gives us such insight, and that, so happy for him. He's been around for 30 years. I mean, the stories that he could tell you, and some of the shitty teams that he has coached, and that I'm so happy for him and his family.
Randy, we're going to let you go because we know you've been up all night enjoying, partying. But before we let you go, just quickly, your general thoughts on Greg Cody?
I can't believe he's still working in the profession of sports. I thought he would have been in those one of those retirement farms or whatever. Look at him right there.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There is Greg Cody. We wanted to bring him in. He is doing his personal victory lap. You can see that he's outside and he's doing his personal parade.
Where's the people? Where are the fans?
Well, they're late arriving. They're
on the plane back to Edmonton.
Some of them are sleeping. Yes, some of them flew back to Edmonton. There is Greg Cody taking a personal parade. It's a little bit different than the one that the Celtics had, slightly, but
it's early.
Well, these things require planning.
Word will get out.
Planning. There is Greg Cody.
Oh, wow. The fanfare.
Let's have him out there the entire show.
In the middle of his victory lap.
The entire show.
Greg, do you want to say anything to Randy Mohler out there as you take your victory lap today?
Yeah, I was glad to hear Randy say that McDavid probably ought not have won the Conn Smythe. You got to give it to Bob, I think, for the reasons Randy said. But, the best news is McDavid didn't get the trophy he wanted. The Panthers stole that one from him. They didn't steal it. They earned it from him. And so it's a happy day down here. Happier day down here and in Edmonton. McDavid continues to pile up fantastic numbers with nothing to show at the end of it. And so this postseason of his was really a metaphor for his career. And that is what makes him overrated.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
Greg.
Double down, my man.
Hey, Cody.
Thank you.
Hey, Cody. It's Mohler.
Yeah.
Hey. I think the biggest reason why your fans are not out there on the sidewalk, or most of them are on wheelchairs, they're having their applesauce right now. So.
Yeah.
You know what? We'll take him any way we can get him. All right, here comes a big fan right now.
Yeah.
Woo!
That is not a fan
How
of
are
yours.
you?
That's just someone in the crosswalk.
Nice to see you, ma'am.
That is
someone going to work.
Right.
That is someone who doesn't want to be bothered by
you.
you.
Half a dozen fans over
No,
there.
they're not there for you. They're just crossing the street.
All right, a waiver. We got a waiver. We got a waiver.
Yeah, you got somebody. You've been stared
Three
someone.
people waving. They're a little sadder than three people waving.
Randy, thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, Randy,
we are
congrats.
thrilled for you, sir. We're very happy for you. It's been a long, long road, buddy.
It's going to be a long week. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. Much love. Randy Mohler has been around our show for a long time, and we really do love the energy he brings. He once showed up at a poker tournament of ours dressed in a bear costume and never announced that it was him, and then just ran out. That's something he did. Greg, give us all of your other thoughts here as you take this victory lap all over Miami. You've begun the parade before anyone else has begun the parade. Give us some of your some other thoughts from last night.
My thoughts from last night, it was a well-earned victory. The two goal scorers were guys who needed to step up, and they did. Bobrovsky played a fantastic game. The last 3 minutes of that game, I thought Edmonton pulled their goalie at least a minute too late, but the last 3 or 4 minutes of that game were about as exciting a 3 or 4 minutes as I've ever seen covering sports down here for 50 years. It was electric. It was just nerve-wracking down to the bone. What a finish to the season. What a wonderful Game 7. I think it's a great, all kidding aside, I think it's a great day for the Florida Panthers, for Panthers fans, for South Florida sports in general. What a wonderful time.
You had someone behind you. It seemed like your parade was gathering momentum. You had a car behind you, but they now made a left turn through
that
some
car
of the...
was trying to get past Greg Cody.
Some of the flooding.
Everybody wants to join the parade.
There's no one in the parade but you. No one wants to join it. That car that just left did drive through a considerable amount of flooding. Greg, you feel vindicated? How scared? Hold on a second. Chris,
Hey, you too.
Chris,
Thank you.
Chris, how scared?
What's that?
How scared was your father? Do you have any idea how scared he was in the press box? Because he was legitimately fearing harm, that someone would harm him after the game if they lost.
He was trying to act when I talked to him like he wasn't feeling the pressure of the whole McDavid thing, and I was feeling the pressure of it. So I don't know how he wasn't, but. This is such a ridiculous shot
Greg,
we have right
your
here.
honest appraisal, you were scared. You were scared last night, right? I just told people that you were telling me, hey, Dan, you might have a liability issue on your hands if I get hurt after the game tomorrow night or last night because someone hurts me after the game after they've lost.
He's too engulfed in the celebration.
It's hard to hear with the crowd.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Another fan over there. Thank you.
Yeah. Can he no
looks
longer
familiar.
hear me?
He doesn't care.
Must be a coincidence.
We'll come back to
Cynthia
him
look-alike.
in a little bit. Mike, are you enraged that Greg Cody gets to take a victory lap here, that he gets to celebrate as if he was right all along?
No, not at all.
I love you back.
That's what you
Thank
do.
you.
That's what you do after you win. Wow. After you win.
Another car joined the parade.
He is out of control with ego, and he does feel validated, even though Connor McDavid.
He won the Conn Smythe in a losing effort and set the record for points in a postseason, breaking Greg's game. But he did go pointless in games 1, 6, and 7, and they had him in a vice.
I'll say this because you know that I have spent, because you guys say the last 4 minutes were great. They weren't actually great. You were just expectant. They were kind of terrible.
Very tense.
The Oilers couldn't get anything in the way of energy
Our
going.
whole game plan was icing.
What about that sequence right in front of the Panther net where there's just bodies on top of bodies everywhere, and Bob, in the middle of all of that, gets his fingertips on his blocker side to push the puck out. And it's not something that you caught in real time. You were just amazed that the puck somehow stayed out. That was desperation. That was everybody putting their body on the line, and that's why you love Game 7s and this sport.
And a well-placed Brandon Montour hook.
Oh, my God, that was cheating.
Great.
That was such cheating.
I didn't see that really?
Well, Montour saved the season. Montour.
No, and Dmitry Kulikov also.
Yeah,
saved the season.
Kulikov had the biggest play.
That was the biggest assist of that night. That secondary assist.
That's why we count hockey assists.
You call it cheating, I call it hockey, Dan. That was a heady play by Montour.
Look, what they're saying on Kulikov is right, because he ends up in the net, and what you don't see against Edmonton, and the Panthers haven't done much of this the postseason. Reinhart goes from blue line to blue line. Like Reinhart just takes the puck all the way down. Soft goal by Skinner. Like that's that's one of the easiest goals you've seen.
Thank you, everyone.
Them get. But what we're talking about with the hooking, like that, Montour saved the season by cheating. And because that should have been a goal for Edmonton.
Is a take.
Oh, they are not going to call a single goddamn penalty in that game. Dan, it's Game 7.
They were letting Game 7. They were letting
everything go.
They were letting that game play out.
That should have been a goal for Edmonton.
Yeah,
that
they
should have been the
scored 2
tying
goals.
goal.
So then it's overtime. I mean,
I was rooting for overtime.
Oh, of course you were.
This is fantastic.
When you say that the last 10 seconds, it looked like Edmonton didn't even want to bother with that puck in the corner anymore. McDavid was in circles in front of the net, but he was exhausted. He was looking down at the ice. And one of the things that I loved about yesterday's game, if you've been watching this team all season, is they were hitting everybody last night. Like, that was a very physical game that they played. And toward the end of it, in the third period, after you guys have seen me fear Tampa, fear Boston, fear the Rangers, the most uncommon thing swept over me in the third period of that game. I'm not afraid of McDavid. Where's McDavid been? Where's he been? Where is he? I'm not afraid. Why am I not taking inventory of the fact that he's on the ice so much, and I should be afraid? I wasn't afraid of him.
That play in the corner, by the way, that's exactly how the Eastern Conference Final ended.
Yep.
That's what they worked on in training camp.
So cool.
They ended the entire season on a play in the corner that they worked on in training camp.
You were terrified the entire time because, as they showed in that game, the Panthers made essentially like one mistake in that game, and they paid for it. They get a little sloppy with possession in the zone, and that's Tarasenko, by the way, the savvy veteran, gives a puck away and a 100-foot pass.
Ekblad was so far out of position.
He was behind him. He was behind Ekblad.
You do not give up a 100-foot pass for that opportunity, and you realize, oh my God, it's happening again. This team all of a sudden gets breakaways at will, and we can never generate anything. There weren't quality scoring chances by the Florida Panthers. They didn't, on offense, didn't exactly play well. This is the biggest game in NHL history, a Game 7. They won the Cup, and they didn't even really execute on offense all that well, but they did what they needed to do defensively. Maybe if they swept, you could really talk about this team as an all-time team because this was the greatest NHL season. The greatest path for any Panther fan. You go through your rival, as you mentioned. You go through Boston. You go through New York. You go through a cup-starved nation and their greatest player.
Go on.
Unbelievable run. And maybe, even though it goes 7, and they're going to be that stat that comes up with teams that blow 3-0 leads, they can still be talked about an all-time team because that was a murderer's row they went through.
Mike, do you agree with Dan when he's saying he's not fearing McDavid last 10 minutes of that game? Because that's the one guy I was fearing.
Stugotz, I'm just telling you that for 2 games.
I was fearing Monmark.
I know.
I was fearing Brown.
For 2 games,
Henrique.
He's been invisible.
I understand that.
It's not getting shots. It's not getting opportunities. The one that he did have, though, on the play that Montour cheated on, it's Hyman, who had the backhand. All he has to do, the puck is... Well, here's what's happened. McDavid's in front of the net with the puck. That's the dangerous thing. Everybody is there. The puck then squeaks out, and all Hyman's got to do, he's got the backhand right there, but Montour not only is hooking him, then hits him in the face with the stick.
Yeah. Quality back check. That's a Game 7 back check.
Yeah. Cheating. Total cheating.
Game 7 back check. I will tell you the only time that I didn't have fear was when 42 was on the puck. When he was defending an Edmonton Oiler that was rushing into their zone, I knew 42, after coming off a nightmarish game, 42 bounces back. Forsling, I feel so comfortable with that guy on the ice. And there's been a long-standing theory in all these podcasts that I've heard that your top defenseman needs to be a bigger guy because of the war of attrition in the playoffs. He's not a bigger guy. He's been waived twice in his career. He's the greatest waiver claim in the history of that sport. And I felt so safe with him when he was on the ice.
I can't get past, for the first 3 years of his time here, we hated Sergei Bobrovsky. Hated him. Worst contract in the entire National Hockey League. And now, he's the greatest free agent signing in the history of the franchise. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. His number is going to be in the rafters when he's done. We hated this guy his first 3 years. It is the greatest signing in the history of the franchise. They signed him. Dale Talon signed him. Dale Talon signed him and gave him $10 million a year, $70 million.
No trade, too,
to
right?
win.
Wasn't it a no trade clause
maybe
as well?
To win the Stanley Cup. It's the greatest signing in the history of the franchise.
And he didn't have to be the best goalie in any of the series. He wasn't the best goalie in this series as it played out.
He was phenomenal last night.
No, he was phenomenal last night. He had three
games were terrible.
He had 3 outstanding games, but you look at who he went through to get to that place.
Oh, the murderous row of goalies.
Vasilevsky, Swayman, and Igor Shesterkin. He's not – there's a gulf there. And it didn't matter because of how this team is constructed. I love it. Around that big contract of his, and he's a champion forevermore, and everything that Zaz said about his jersey and Hall of Fame, all that is true now.
And for the people who don't know the history, benched at the start of last postseason.
Yeah, they don't get into the playoffs last year without Alex Lyon.
And the postseason before it, he was splitting time with Spencer Knight.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, is he still a Panther?
Spencer Knight was on the ice.
He was on the ice.
He was the one that handed the cup to Paul Maurice.
Yep. He rang the bell.
That was a good job out of Spencer Knight giving the cup to Maurice. That was a good job out of him.
That was an odd order that they handed that cup around.
Really?
It was.
Yeah.
Ekblad was so pissed when Oliver Ekman-Larsson got it before him.
There's got to be a story there. You understand why Opozo's getting it before Ekblad, but I would have liked Ekblad, especially because the moment in that game, it maybe might have been the cheating from Brandon Montour, as Dan highlighted, or the bodies on top of bodies in the crease, but I thought the 1v1, McDavid against Aaron Ekblad, who's played against Connor McDavid throughout junior hockey his entire life. Like, he is not a great skater. There is such a wide gulf in skating ability on that 1v1.
Ekblad stumbled with the cup. He almost tripped.
I think he tripped over the rug, right?
He's not a great skater.
It was fitting that he stumbled with the cup.
That's not fair. I mean, he's had an injury-riddled career.
Oh, and he was probably hurt there because his ankle probably swelled up.
Yeah, like, are we going to find – we're going to find out the injuries
Yeah,
now,
you're going to find
right?
out the injuries for all the teams, the losing team, and you're going to find out what's going on with Florida there. But for one moment, Aaron Ekblad was isolated with the game's greatest player, and he summoned enough effort to stop him.
It's such a weird sport. We're excited now to find out how hurt our guys were.
I want to know how often it happens that a team puts up the stat that the Panthers did, which is when leading after 2 periods, they are now 69-0-4 this season.
They were due. I mean, fought it off. I mean,
69.
That little voice was in my head.
The fact
eventually
that
this has to end.
not one time this season did they lead headed into the third period and lose the game.
That's right.
That's crazy.
They sold games away.
How often? But yes, I understand that it's part of. It's not. It's a feature, not a bug. I understand that it's how they're built, and it's why I believed that they would win the game yesterday, because Game 7 on the road is hard, and they were going to win the third period because they always win the third period. Can you guys tell me how rare it is to go an entire season where you hold every lead you have? Because it's not just that they were empirically the best third period team by plus minus. The fact that it has never once happened, and against the Rangers, they gave up the lead and then won the game a little bit later, and that happened a few times during this. But I just can't believe that they didn't lose one of those this season.
How about Kevin Stenlund without a stick for 90 seconds?
Oh, that was a gigantic penalty
Monster
kill.
number 2. He gave him one of these and one of those.
Clutch move. Forsling lost the 6. Stenlund said, "Here, take mine."
Game 7.
That's a bad feeling, though. That's. I'm not kidding you when I tell you that the feeling around that was worse for me than the feeling of the goal that tied the game 2 minutes later. The feeling I had for the minute and a half where I'm like, you're kidding me. They're going to be on the power play, which they make it a 37% clip, and also it's going to be man advantage, and one of the Panthers isn't going to have a stick.
Punching at the
puck. So he's just going to be
5 on
out
3
there.
and a half.
He's going to look like me out there, just sort of standing in the way, dancing around, unable to do anything with his stick, and unable to have the time to go get the stick. So basically, your only play there is, can I block a shot with my face? Like, how do I block a shot with my face? I don't have a stick.
That's what I said last night. I had my father up. We had 3 generations of Zaslow men watching the game. I brought out the big guns. I brought my father into the Zaslow Mansion Sirius room. It's a very exclusive group, but we needed 3 generations to carry us through to Game 7, so I brought my father in. And when Stenlund's out there without the stick, like, he's a hockey fan, but he doesn't know all the nuances. It's like, Like, he doesn't have a stick. What's he going to do? Like, he's going to block the puck with his face if he has it. That's what he's going to do.
Whatever it takes.
You put the man in mansion? Is there any? It's just Zaslow men in a room
yeah.
wrestling and jostling?
3 generations
three
of
alphas.
Zaslow men. 4 of us total. 3 generations were in the Zaslow Mansion family room, which, of course, everybody knows when the game starts, that becomes the serious room.
Mohler just sent me a picture. Kachuk is at the elbow room with the cup.
The cup's at the
Kachuk
elbow room. The cup is at the elbow room.
Kachuk said last night on the ice, when Matthew and Brady were being interviewed by the NHL Network crew, he said, I heard tomorrow it's elbow room.
We need to get somebody over to the elbow room.
Yes,
Is it
me.
gonna be too late? Go! What are you doing? It's not because you've
Bye, everybody.
contributed so much to the show.
Go
Go.
get Chucky.
Have you gone to me today?
Go.
Have you gone to me today?
Yes.
Yeah,
Go.
really.
You were
No,
hungover.
go
You
to the
gave
elbow
me
room.
nothing.
No, this
Go.
is.
Please
go
go
for
get
it.
us content. Feel
Yeah.
free.
Go
But
to
if
the
it's
elbow
hot,
room.
remember, you chose to wear a jersey. Don't blame Dan.
How long do you think they're going to be there? Because
I think all day.
I could see Roy getting to the elbow room too late.
I think all day.
Yeah, well, Roy will keep chasing.
Yeah.
All right, we have made it from Amarin-Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down.
Celebrate. We celebrate. Championship. Woo!
We are going to celebrate a Stanley Cup championship with Panthers fans tonight. How did you feel about tonight's result?
Awesome.
Like it's a dream. Like I'm going to wake up tomorrow and none of this was real.
I've waited 24 years for this.
I want to tell the Oilers, give your balls a tug. Stanley Cup champs, baby. Woo!
Let's go Panthers! They absolutely earned it.
I'm losing my. How are you guys doing?
Done it. We are champions.
We are the champions
Oh.
tonight.
I feel spectacular.
We did it. We did it, baby.
We did that.
Yes. Woo! Champions. Yeah. Yeah. They're happy. Woo! Let's go.
I feel like a fucking winner. This fucking rules.
Yeah.
I loved this tweet last night from Ryan Clark because, yeah, sure, the people who have been with the Panthers for 30 years are going to experience last night the deepest and most emotionally. But a whole lot of people were gathered around the television last night just because Maximum Sports was happening. And so Ryan Clark got into the fray, and I love the way that he did when he tweeted, who stepped up tonight in a big way. Big friggin' Dave Bobrovsky.
Oh, no.
That's okay. I mean,
It is okay. It's totally allowed. Everybody's welcome here if you want to be a part of the party. It's just Bobrovsky is not from a place where I don't think we call people Dave.
Is it possible that Sergey was autocorrected on his phone to Dave?
We don't even call him by his first name. We call him Bob.
That is correct. But his first name is not Dave. That is incorrect. It is not Dave Bobrovsky.
Sergey Bobrovka.
He was there, by the way.
He was there.
You're
So
saying
was Stephen A. Smith, by the way.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
he was in attendance.
So you're saying there's not a lot of Daves in Russia?
I'm just guessing that wherever it is Bobrovsky's from, not a whole lot of people are answering to Dave.
Sergey Bobrovka.
That's so good.
Charles knows his name now, though. Charles continues to show up at hockey events, and right now, the greatest thing that has happened locally since blank. Since blank. Are we looking at 10 years it's been since this feeling was here? Are we looking at Ray Allen's shot as the last time that any of this felt like this locally, where Maximum Sports gives you the joy ride of people don't like this team, they're annoying, I like this team, people don't think it's interesting, don't like the storylines, haven't fallen in love with the characters, but I like the characters, they're gritty, they're tough, I like their story. It's me against the United States and North America. When I say that, I'm saying you're a fan of this team. It's you against everybody. And then as it grows, you go from up 3-0 to terrified. And while terrified, all you're hearing for 3 games is, oh, my God, this is McDavid's crowning. Here it comes. And it's what everybody wants. And you deny them it. And at the end, the Oilers are too tired to go get it. They're too exhausted. They looked like they were in sludge. It looked to me like that team, so very fast, so very terrifying, they looked like the ice had melted under their feet because they were not moving fast at the end.
In fairness to Ryan Clark, Dave is a very popular name in Russia. I mean,
David.
Always in the top 20. Yeah.
It's almost like it was a mistake that Knobloch played his top guys so much in, say, the first half of the third period, as opposed to really saving for an onslaught the final 5 or 6 minutes, because they had the puck the whole third period, you know? And if those guys had more energy, and I'm also stunned that they didn't pull Skinner until like a minute 20.
Way too late.
Terrible job. Game 7.
But that's the Panthers' identity. We've said that aloud a bunch of times. Like, why isn't this goalie coming out? And it's because the Panthers are still occupying that neutral zone, and you can't guarantee that there's going to be zone entry from
Edmonton had full control with like 2:20 left in the Panthers
zone. Yeah, but
they
in the neutral zone, though, like, they didn't get a rush going, and you have to hedge against, like, a breakaway going the other way. I understand why he didn't pull him. I think he should have pulled him. There was a stoppage.
Now.
Yeah, there was a stoppage in play where he should have absolutely pulled him.
It was a timeout. They got no rest from their timeout. They didn't come out of the timeout with anything.
Yeah.
Roy, you are still here, even though the cup is at the elbow room and players are surrounding the cup at the elbow room. I'm assuming you're still here because all of Meadowlark's resources are being poured into the Greg Cody victory lap?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so will you be leaving shortly? Because
you can Zoom.
I will say again, I'm going to say this.
Kachuk has the cup on a golf cart right now. He's driving around Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, I would like to be there with him. And Roy, we have spent a lot of money and a lot of time with you over the last few days. You flew Fort Lauderdale to Houston to Denver to Edmonton, 16 hours. You flew Toronto to Montreal to Miami, 13 hours. You flew Miami to Chicago to Calgary, then drove to Edmonton for 11 hours. And you flew Calgary to Charlotte to Miami for 11 hours. And while you did all of that, you saw your team outscored 13-2. You did all of that to watch the Panthers allow 13 goals and score 2 goals. Now, you got the cup 30 minutes away. You don't have to go anywhere to go see your team outscored 13-2. It's just 30 minutes away. I think you should go get to wherever the cup is and give us live reports from the cup.
Yeah, I could probably Zoom from here. Can I? Yeah. Okay, I'll see you guys later.
All right. Go get the cup.
Tell Matthew I say hi.
Yeah.
Greg Cody might need to be on Zoom too because our live view just died.
Okay, that's good.
They didn't charge it?
No, there were some problems charging a battery of some sort. That's why Greg Cody was just standing in the other room.
It was a
while
great
he
shot,
was
though.
Supposed to be, in the victory lap.
Not a lot of podcasts that are live can pull that off.
I'm glad Stugotz is laughing
I'm
at
sorry.
that. So our batteries have run out. And we can't get to the cup.
You got the aerial view.
Yeah.
My batteries died, and I'm here.
Billy, did you get outside? Were there people in your neighborhood banging pots and pans?
Yeah, I went to La Carreta, obviously. What else am I going to do? I went there. I took a little cazuela, a wooden spoon, and I stood on the side of the road, and I banged it as cars passed by. Some USA chants. That might have been about something else. There was a guy driving. He was shooting fireworks out of the side of his car as he was driving, one hand on the steering wheel, the other side on a Roman candle, just shooting. I learned that police are really just, I guess, trying to prevent rioting or, violence, and all other laws go out the window. So, you could put 80 people in the back of a pickup truck, and that doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. Run, jaywalk, whatever you want to do, you can do as long as you're not, I guess, doing damage to property or others.
But were they fearing some sort of rioting on Calle Ocho? Because I don't believe that the police officers would be that interested in stopping much of anything there, because I don't think there was a lot happening there.
Well, no, there was a lot happening. I was on Bird Road. There was a large police presence just making sure everybody was staying safe. They also blocked off some, shopping centers so you wouldn't park there. But everybody was having a good time. It was a nice, safe, good time. Lots of pots and pans and banging and screaming about how much we all love the Panthers on Bird Road, as you know. And that was it. We were celebrating. People shooting fireworks. There were some dogs there. It's a nice night.
That was
nice little night.
That moment was captured by PLG, and it was on the screens. And I was around some Panther bigwigs, and I pointed to the screen. I'm like, I can't believe they are celebrating a Stanley Cup championship in Westchester.
To be honest with you, I was surprised too. As I was driving over there, we were trying to figure out the route we were going to take, and I go, well, at least it's the most popular team or the least popular team in town. It shouldn't be that bad in terms of traffic. There was a nice crowd, though. I was surprised by the crowd. It wasn't a heat crowd. It was not.
How many people? We talking hundreds?
Well,
thousands?
so I
compare it to the people at the Cody parade.
Dozens.
At the Cody parade, yeah.
Dozens. It's not going to be.
No. It was in the hundreds. It was in the hundreds, and I will say this. I also left early. I went, I checked in, I was there for 30, 45 minutes, and then I left because my family stayed at home. Me and my wife had a discussion earlier in the night where I said, if we win, I'm gonna wake up the 3-year-old and we're gonna go celebrate because I don't know when we're gonna do this again. And she said, okay, yeah, we had that conversation. And then 11:30 or so came with about a minute and a half left, and then I went into the room to wake up said 3-year-old, and she said, you're not waking up this 3-year-old. What is wrong with you? She's going to be scared. You're waking her up in the middle of the night, taking her out of her slumber. Then you take her to loud noises. People are banging on pots and pans. She has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know this tradition of this town. People are going to be screaming. There's going to be dogs barking, fireworks. They're just going to be on the side of the road. This is going to be very traumatic.
You really married the perfect woman.
I said, yeah, probably, but also I don't know when this is going to happen again. And then we started going over, and she didn't like this because this was at 12:30 when I got home. I started listening. I go, let me tell you a story. 1997, the Marlins, they celebrated at La Carreta. Before that, it was 1973 or 1974 before there was a championship celebration. Now, if we fast forward, sure, we go to 2003, there was another championship celebration, and then we didn't have one until 2006. And then we had to wait until 2012, and then 2013, and now we have to wait until 2024. And when I'm saying it out loud, it sounds like a very charmed life. Because to be honest with you, in a span of 30 years, we've had 6 or 7 of these championship celebrations, and I was completely discrediting my argument of this could be another 30. I said, look, if we're just waiting on the Panthers, we waited 30, 31 years for this? At this pace, my daughter might be 34 years old when they do this again. Ooh. And she's going to experience 34 years of her life without celebrating this if I don't take her tonight. That argument didn't work. I went by myself.
Did all of this take that long? I mean,
it took longer. It took longer. She's like, can we go to sleep? It's 12:30 because she was asleep when I got home.
Oh, I see.
And it took longer. But I was trying to list all these things, of all these championships that we've had, and how much time there's in between.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long story.
Yeah.
It's the only kind he tells.
It was a short one for me. I tried to speed it up for you guys.
You forgot about the Leagues Cup.
La
Yeah.
Carreta is a place where the best of the celebrations has to be the 97 Marlins celebration because it was Levon
Well, when
Hernandez
Fidel died the first time.
shouting, thank you, Billy. Yes, but I was talking about the ones that you mentioned. Your story didn't include Fidel. For as long as it was, there was no first time that Fidel died.
But he's right?
No, he's not right.
Okay.
He's just long-winded.
Right.
1997, Levon Hernandez is shouting in an accent, I love you, Miami.
I love you, Miami.
And so he was speaking the language of Calle Ocho. The Heat championships got a bunch of people out there. I'm stunned to hear that you stumbled out of your house, could find no one in the surrounding areas to celebrate this with you, and so you stumbled over to La Carreta with a daughter at 12:30.
No, I wasn't allowed to take my daughter.
But you were trying to. This is a very you allowed at the house. When's the last time you left the house by yourself after midnight? You are very maximum dad. You are not.
Well, nothing good happens after midnight. My grandmother taught me that, so I try not to, if at all possible. And I left there around like 12:25, 12:30, and I'll tell you this: the streets were packed. Like when I was there was 5-6 blocks of traffic that was at a standstill, and it was getting pretty packed when I was leaving. I got out of there before things started getting maximum crazy.
Do we feel good about the attendance for whatever the parade's going to be?
Good compared to what? Not good if you're comparing it to the Celtics.
Well, no, compared to not being embarrassing that it's a hockey team in South Florida that won the Stanley Cup.
I think the parade might be a little embarrassing if your comparison point is are Americans going to make fun of how small that parade looks?
Right, that's what I'm wondering.
How it should look if it were in Edmonton.
They're doing it on a weekend. At least that's what I'm being told. That's what's being reported right now. Like, I don't like that on a Sunday. Like, don't give me a parade on a Saturday or Sunday. Thursday, Wednesday, Friday.
But Saturday or Sunday, you can get people out who aren't working.
That's the way you got to do it.
They want their Saturdays to themselves.
All 6 of us will be there. All 6 of us will be there. I'm not going to parse what our parade route is going to look like. I don't give a shit.
People are asking how they celebrate this with the team.
There's a crowd
The Elbow
gathering.
Room is the place to celebrate.
We have a reporter out there, and he sent us in a video. If you guys want to put up the video of the Elbow Room, Kachuk's out there. It looks like a doozy of a time.
All right. Yes, the Elbow Room is.
Look, at least 6 of us.
Yes, look at that. Look at the festivities there. Monster event there. The cup is there. There are dozens of people there in the morning. I do think that Stugotz, when he says put it on a weekday, he's got it all wrong. You put it on a weekday, South Floridians have to work, you will get no one at that parade. There will be no one there on a weekday. Weekend is your only chance to get a crowd that feels like a giant championship celebration.
They almost have to do it on Sunday because there's so many. The hockey calendar is so weird. There's so much off-season stuff that needs to be done in like the next 72 hours, and there's a draft over the weekend. So I don't think they can actually celebrate with their entire staff until the draft is over on Saturday. That's why they're reportedly landing on that Sunday.
So the guy that's the keeper of the cup, the guy with the gloves, he follows the cup all the time.
The guy with the 80s haircut.
Yeah, he follows the cup all the time. So he hasn't been to bed. He's got to go with them to Elbow Room, and it's like, can we go to sleep already? Like, he just has to stay.
That's his job.
With all the partying.
Yes.
He's so tired right now, but he's at Elbow Room.
I was thinking, in all sports, that has to be the greatest job title. Keeper of the Cup. What a great job title. I mean, it's amazing.
I feel like just you get to a point where it's like, all right, have we had enough to drink, the last 24 hours?
He's a big celebrity. I saw him around the lower bowl, and so he was getting pulled aside, people yelling, Phil. He took a million photos.
Yeah. They have 2 or 3 guys who do that. He doesn't have to be with the cup all the time. Otherwise, he would never sleep.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
No, he does. There's multiple cups.
They have multiple cups.
Spoiler alert.
There are multiple cups with multiple people.
Yes.
Guarding multiple cups.
We're new to hockey down here. But anyway, Dan, imagine if someone says to you, hey, what do you do for a living? And you pull out a business card and it says Keeper of the Cup.
It's pretty good.
I mean,
did you guys see the piece right before? You guys are at the game, obviously. You didn't see it. But did you see the piece before where he was talking about they did a whole thing about throwing off the gloves and they show all the teams throwing off gloves.
Cool.
And then they show Phil, and Phil keeps all of his gloves. I guess he gets one set of gloves every year. Then he like lays them out, and he was like, "There's so much history." And I'm like, "No, those are dirty gloves. Like, let's be real. Come on, they're probably stinky."
It's true, dirty.
Bit of a
stinky
hoarder,
gloves.
Phil.
I mean, a lot of history is dirty and
Phil
stinky.
collects hair,
Yeah,
right?
Phil, he collects hair.
Potentially.
He's a hoarder. I guess you would have some expertise spotting hoarders, being among them.
What is that
you,
supposed to mean?
you're
I don't
a
collect
hoarder.
hair. For the record, I don't collect hair.
I mean, you.
Let the
Everything
record
else.
show.
Can we go through your car right now and see what you have collected in your car?
I have about 16 years of show logs in the back of my car that I put in my trunk after we moved from the Clevelander. And my wife, who said you can't take this 3-year-old out at midnight, also said you cannot bring those show logs into this house.
Billy, were you trying, in all sincerity, because I know you don't do the syrup very much around here, but when they won a championship, were you trying to give your daughter, who is still in some formative years that is unlikely to remember a championship celebration, some of the things in your childhood that made you a Marlins fan because you're trying to pass them down to her actively?
I don't know, they're going to pass the Panthers down, you know what I mean? But I'll say this, say they win a championship. I thought about the Boy Meets World episode, you know, when Corey's dad. Huh?
Oh.
Which one?
With Vader.
No, that was a good episode, though.
File.
Yeah. I was thinking of the episode where Corey's dad woke him up to watch a Phillies no-hitter. And it was a formative thing for him. And it was like, wow, Corey, are you going to, whatever Corey's dad's name is, Corey's dad, as far as I'm concerned, you're going to wake him up for this? Like, he has school tomorrow. I was like, there's a no-hitter.
No-hitters every week.
Like, well, now there is. But back in the time of Boy Meets World, that was a special thing that we cherished. And I said, you know what? This could be my Corey's no-hitter with my daughter. But she had no idea what was going on.
Alan Matthews.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Girl Meets World?
I didn't. I mean,
you know that's Sabrina Carpenter, the girl with the espresso song?
Really?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to catch up on Girl
That's a
Meets
catchy
World.
little ditty.
Yeah.
Song of the summer, they're saying.
A 3-year-old at midnight doesn't seem like...
She's 2 years away from writing letters to Sidney Crosby.
My Abu was my dad was watching Juliet, and Juliet watched the entire game, and she recognized what was going on. Yeah. It was in that moment that I was like, well, now I wish she was here if she knew what was going on.
Huh. How did your decision get made at the last minute after spending too much money on Game 5 to get to Game 7?
I asked him earlier in the day if he was going.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going.
Said no.
But how many Game 7 opportunities you going to get?
No, but he said he couldn't afford it.
I understand that.
I was priced out. I was priced out.
Right.
But then I opened up the Game Time app, folks.
Oh, boy.
And I saw prices. They call them flash deals. And it was on the shoot one side, but it was also about $500 cheaper than the price that I paid for Game 5. And Game 5, I got to tell you, one of the worst purchases I've ever made in my entire life. There's no coming back.
Oh, you thought they were going to win that third period, though. You thought.
Just a terrible buy. But I checked the Game Time app, and I saw a price that worked for my budget. I don't really know how I'm going to pay for it yet, but I'll worry about that later. And if you're like me and you have an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see the biggest hockey game of all time, why don't you download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DAN. For $20 off your first purchase, terms apply, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. There is no more loyal customer of Game Time than I am. They must love me.
I just got a text from my friend saying, Chucky just poured beer into my mouth from the cup from the balcony. Wow. This is heaven.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe let's get your friend to zoom in, and because we can't get any correspondence there or working technology, so let's just dial somebody in the street who's actually near doing the job we need done. Roy was slurring through all of his reports last night. Roy can't handle his liquor. We're now.
Is that true? That's a known thing?
He drank a lot of liquor last night.
Big lush this Roy.
Stugotz, I am now clear on the fact that Roy cannot handle his liquor. He does not know how to drink an appropriate amount that makes him not slur. Like, am I wrong about this?
But it was Game 7.
No, but it's not. It's just
general,
liquor,
you're
though.
right.
No,
yes.
but Stugotz,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be Game 7. Once
right.
he starts with the drinking,
Yeah.
he doesn't have control of how much to drink. He doesn't have a
Let's
governor.
play the opening line of this video here.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena.
Oh, wow. Jesus, Roy.
He doesn't know how to do it. He does not know how to drink.
I'm so happy for this guy.
He fancies himself a
That's a
drinker.
great start to the video. One more time. One more time.
We have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down.
We celebrate championship.
We are going to celebrate a Stanley Cup championship.
There are some marbles in that mouth.
That bar looks like it's great if you're drunk.
Chris, what did you get into last night? How much have you slept?
I got home at 3 a.m. I went to the quarterdeck. right by the arena, and it was a lot more exciting than the bar Roy was at. It was great. The place was packed. It was exciting. There were sad Oiler fans. I got to point and laugh at. I saw, by the way, and I knew we were winning this game. I saw an Oiler fan puking in the parking lot before the game, and I'm telling you, it changed my entire mood.
That's right.
I was feeling down. I was just like, I'm trying to talk myself into being excited for this game. I saw an Oilers fan puke because they were feeling themselves. These Oilers fans before the game were too excited.
Like they packed Yard House at Sawgrass.
Exactly.
Oh my God! Look at all the Oiler fans here. How about it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon? We have jobs. We didn't fly here to go to the game. Of course, it's all Oiler fans across the street.
They care about hockey.
But I'm telling you, that switched my mood. I told the group chat, I was like, guys, I think we got this. I just saw an Oilers fan puke, and I heckled him like I was in my early 20s. I was like, you loser! It was great.
You guys don't really have the right, given how you were behaving the first 6 hours before the game. You looked like you were going to puke. You and Mike both looked like you were going to puke. I don't believe that you got there and like, that guy's throwing up in the parking lot. That means we're going to win.
No, but when you feel like you're going to puke and you see someone else puke, Dan, then your feeling for puking, it goes away. I'm telling you, that's how it works.
Stugotz, you weren't here. Yesterday was me and Renee Montgomery keeping everything on track.
Well,
like,
good.
no one else thought that the Panthers had a shot except me and Renee.
That's a terrible job by you guys. You should be ashamed of yourselves, all of you.
No,
you would have been embarrassed.
Appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you guys.
You had
really,
no faith in
really
your
cuts me
team.
down to the bone. Let me tell you.
We did what we had to do for the Panthers to win. We
Fuck
had
outta
the
here
right
with
attitude.
your
We had the
fence.
attitude we needed to have.
Pulling every lever, buddy. Every lever.
You're going to take credit now.
Superstition masterclass.
Yeah, okay. All right. You're going to take credit for
I did what I did.
All right. You did
I
what
controlled what I could control to win that cup. I brought it home.
You should be embarrassed in general.
Oh, I was nervous before Game 7 in which my team had lost.
No, you
3
said they were
straight.
going to lose. You said they were
Yeah,
gonna
that's
lose.
buddy.
Yeah, you
I
reverse
gotta,
jinxed it. Yeah,
because
you
I
did.
gotta.
Yeah,
You gotta pull every lever
That's true.
possible.
I sent him a
reverse
text
jinx, I
in the
mean.
middle of the day. I said, we're going to do this tonight, right? And he texts me back, goes, no evidence of that.
No evidence.
Terrible
Zero.
job.
That was
Terrible
one of the
job.
levers.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Greg
Every
Cody,
lever.
Thank you, Mike.
yes, of course. Thank you. We should all be chanting, thank you, Mike, for your profound belief.
Oh, we got to
in this
thank the guy that
team.
gave Mike the internship, if you remember that story.
My
If not, this show
my
wouldn't have
profound
happened.
belief as opposed to your guys' profound belief.
I mean, mine was clear. Mine
And performative.
Mine never changed. Never once changed. I wasn't flopping around like a dead fish on a boat.
Yeah, I was. I mean, it meant that much to me. I definitely did.
It's my life.
Yeah.
You're right about Game 7.
And I just wanted.
Yeah, they're
I
kinda
saw.
great.
I was so envious. I was so envious of.
You always want those.
I
You
said you're right.
always want the Game 7.
He
yes.
owns that take.
I was envious of the vibes that the Oilers fans brought into that game, and people were talking nonsense to me, and I couldn't muster up a comeback or anything like that. But I just wanted, if anything happens in this game, you feel how I feel right now. You feel that anger. You feel that despair. You feel like, oh my God, we're this close and it's not going to happen. I just wanted them to make them feel that. And they felt it. And then they choked the game away. And they lost to a team that didn't play particularly well offensively
They didn't
in the
choke it away.
biggest
We
game.
took that shit. What do you mean they choked it away?
No. I'm saying like the vice-like grip that we had on that game. Like literally choked the life out of that game. That's what I mean.
It was interesting to see the Panthers take the state and the style from Tampa. Take all of it.
You see Tampa Bay congratulated us, Dan? I don't know how I feel about that.
I'll tell you how I feel. I don't need your congratulations. You're not on my team. Get out of here. Send you home again next year.
Up
End your
yours.
season every year, I hope.
At Tampa Bay Lightning, up yours.
I'll be damned if you ever catch me congratulating them.
Never.
What kind of world are we living in?
Greg Cody has returned after his victory parade. How was it, Greg? I thought you were going to join us from McDonald's. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. I'm not in charge. That's above my pay grade. The victory, I don't know what it looked like in the video, but the crowds were really gathering.
We felt it. Yeah.
They were 3 or 4 deep on the side of the road. I worried that it was going to be a traffic hazard for a bit, but we got through it. But the response was great. I mean, nobody celebrates the championship of a team from Sunrise like downtown Miami.
Congratulations.
So it was just great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And by the way, you'll remember, you can roll the tape if you want. I guaranteed last night's win. Okay, I guaranteed it. All of the
you
real.
can't take credit for it. Mike's already taken credit for it. You can't have any of the credit.
I mean,
Mike's already
I
taken all
I
the
get
credit.
the ultimate credit because I muted their best
You don't
player.
get any of the credit because
Yes.
Mike's got all the credit.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's Mike, you know.
The Stanley Cup championship. It says it on the board.
The cup's over there somewhere.
The cup's over there somewhere. It says it all around the ribbon board. The final score,
Oh my God, dude.
2-1. The Florida Panthers won it in a style that they have mastered all season.
You said it. What was it? What did they do?
Shut down City in the
down
third
City.
period.
Let's
They
go.
completely shut this team down in the third period. A rat was just thrown at me. We're here with Kevin Sinland, and you guys have played your asses off all playoffs. You made it to 7 games here in the Stanley Cup Finals. Give us your feelings right now.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's hard to describe. It's been a long journey, but we're here now, and we're really going to enjoy it.
That was the same. We're with Panthers captain Alexander Barkov. You just raised the Stanley Cup. Can you believe that?
I guess we're champions, right?
I guess so. Give us your feelings. How you feel right now?
Unbelievable. Well, you dream about this moment your whole life since you were born. When you get your first skates on and first time you touch the stick, you dream about this. And to be able to do it with this organization, this team, and here in front of our own fans, it's unbelievable feeling.
Makes the last couple weeks a little bit more worth it that you got to celebrate at home and everything you went through. It kind of makes everything that much better now, right?
Yeah, I mean, with this team, we never find the easy way to do it. So, well, it took us to Game 7 to do it, and we're probably played our best game in Game 7.
This is amazing, man. I'm proud of you as a Panthers fan. I'm proud of you as a member of the media. I'm so happy to see that you actually got to do this. So congratulations to you, Alexander. We're here with Jeremy Taché of Bally's Sports Florida. They just won a Stanley Cup, Jeremy.
He just won the Stanley Cup. This is the coolest thing that's ever happened. We're on the ice. We're standing on the ice.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's happening. It's all happening.
It's all happening. This is you got the good seat up there in the press box, whoever it is, Mike. So you took my seat, goddammit.
I did. I took Roy's seat for the entirety of this playoff run. And I would like to say I should probably sit in that seat for every playoff run for the rest of our lives. Based off the way that this went, I apologize, but you've got to sit auxiliary. I sit there because the Panthers won the fucking Stanley Cup.
Yeah, baby.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Are you saying that this Stanley Cup is all because of you?
I would like to take my place where the credit is due. After Greg, after Roy, but above some others, and just saying, go Ice Cats. Thank you.
We got Stephen Lawrence and Anthony Stolarz, everybody. You boys just won the Stanley Cup. How you feel?
There's no real words for it right now. Still just trying to enjoy the moment. It's been a long time, long season for us. We grinded, we earned this. We didn't deserve it. We earned it every step of the way, and it wasn't easy at times, but here we are.
How you feeling, Anthony?
Pretty damn good right now. It's such a surreal moment just to be able to share it with everybody on the team, guys that worked so hard during the year, training camp, regular season, and 25 games of playoffs or whatever it was. So it's been a long year, and just to see all that hard work pay off, it's all worth it.
Just want to say congrats, fellas, from one goalie to another, from a guy to another guy. I don't know what to say. I'm just fucking pumped right now.
Yeah, baby.
Just happy for you guys. Fucking A.
Boys, congratulations. We're here with Stanley C. Panther, the Florida Panthers. This is the championship mascot. How you feel right now, Stanley?
Yes.
We're with Roberto Luongo, and you have finally got yourself a Stanley Cup ring coming your way.
How's it feel?
Pretty good, man. Feels pretty good.
The Luongo name is going on the cup.
I know. It's honestly, it's sort of surreal. That's what's going on right now. I mean, since the second I came on the ice and just seeing the boys with the cup, it's everything I would imagine and more. So I'm so proud of these guys. You know, they worked so hard all year from the first day of training camp. You know, after a long season the year before, they put in the work, and you could tell this year going into the playoffs that it was a different vibe around the team.
I think the added motivation tonight was from you drumming.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen,
that was the best drumming effort of the playoffs. You were so into it. I got jacked up. Way the hell up there.
Yeah, I had a lot of emotions over the last 10 days I needed to let out. So I wanted to make sure that I got it all out so that I could go relax in the suite and watch the game.
Since you've taken over the franchise, you made this a first-class organization, and you got yourself a new practice facility and everything. Now you're a Stanley Cup champion. How do you feel?
I feel very happy for the fans we're looking at. I feel very happy for South Florida. I feel very, very happy for the community. I feel blessed, truly blessed.
Yeah.
Great. Our organization, it's character-based, family-based. I mean, they just, I feel humbled. I feel more humility tonight than I can express, really. That's how I feel.
It's got to feel good, kind of building on what you just said, knowing that you guys did it the right way.
We did it the right way.
Family hires, you brought in Matty Caldwell. You took an extended period to hire Billy.
Yeah.
You looked for Paul. Just all the right moves. So it's got to feel good to know that, like, you guys took your time, you did it right, and now look at what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we're South Florida, champions forever. Stanley Cup never leaves. So South Florida, God bless the fans, God bless the people, God bless the community, and thank you.
Well, we've interviewed as many people as we could, and
Soak it up.
Yeah, we soaked it up. It's a joyous occasion here at ice level here at Amerant Bank Arena as the Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup, David.
Yeah, I am blown away. It's just kind of starting to sink in, looking around all the championship banner. I mean, we've been trying to soak it in. As you can see, we're like the last ones here. We don't want to leave. Like, I'm fine sleeping here. Like, this is so cool.
We're going to get the fans' reaction at the infield.
Oh, yeah, we got to go to the bar.
Yeah, we got to go to the bar, and we're going to have drinks. But before we leave the ice tonight, we do have a very special message for a certain individual who renounced his fanship of the Florida Panthers. That is Chris Runningham, who decided to become a New York Rangers fan, who promptly got vanquished during the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah.
So, in closing, as we leave the ice here at Amerant Bank Arena, to you, Chris Runningham, you can go f*** yourself.
A William Engel writes in Stugotz, willpower is his Twitter handle, and I think he speaks for all of America right now when he says it sucks that Dan Le Batard and all those dorks are happy. I believe that it is something that the rest of North America feels whenever someone other than your fan base is celebrating anything. The internet is a wildly divided place. I don't believe that people are happy for each other on the internet. And I believe that more people would be listening to this show by double today if the Panthers had lost. That would attract more people in today's North America than happiness.
Oddly, the only people that were happy for Florida Panther fans were Tampa Bay Lightning fans and their organization.
I don't believe that the fans of Tampa Bay were actually happy for Florida. That is simply the organization of Tampa
doing the right thing,
trying to be magnanimous. I don't believe there is anybody in hockey today, anywhere outside of a 50-mile radius of here, that's happy for the sport of hockey today because of what happened last night.
And you know what we say to those people?
It is annoying to sound like you are gloating. Chris Cody, after wanting to throw up for 12 straight hours, just shouting obnoxiously into his camera how great he is and how he believed all along, how it was never in doubt, how he was the only true supporter of everything that the Panthers were this season. And the only reason that he couldn't take more credit is because he was second place in his own family on being able to take credit for why it is that the Panthers won.
What a series for Greg. I mean.
Yeah, I hate to brag. You know that.
Yeah.
But, did your call? I didn't read your column after the game. Apologies. Did you hit him with the Conn Smythe?
No,
like you said you were gonna.
I made a fleeting reference to it, but that was not the emphasis of the column. I'm going to come back with a column today that'll be online later today about the whole past couple of weeks and the McDavid drama.
About you?
About you.
About your favorite.
I think
squeeze it a little more.
I think your original column should be your last word on the topic. That's it. That's it. You don't have to say anything more. You won.
Your column should be, I was right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that may be essentially not in just that, but that may be essentially what I write today. But the column I wrote last night had to be a celebration of this epic achievement.
You were not right.
Oh, yeah, I was.
No, he's right.
Yeah. I mean, read more about it later today.
No, you were wrong, and you get
wrong.
You're the best kind of right, which is you're wrong.
No, I disagree.
I'm familiar.
Like McDavid just did something that's only happened 5 times prior in the history of the National Hockey League.
He was terrible 5 out of 7 games. I don't want to hear about it.
I mean, he won the Conn Smythe on a losing team.
Yeah, I know.
Terrible is
And
a
shouldn't
stretch.
have.
NHL is trying to make him a thing.
And only the second time that a skater, not a goalie, won the Conn Smythe on a losing team.
Yeah, Bob should have won it.
Let me tell you what should have happened. McDavid missed an opportunity. He squandered an opportunity after the game. He squandered many during the game and during the series, but he squandered one afterwards. You accept the Conn Smythe, you skate it over to Bob, you hand it to him.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
That's what you do.
That would have been classic.
Thank you.
Greg, what if you were in front of, because we know that Connor McDavid's father, not a fan of the Greg Cody column, what would you say to him if he were in front of you now?
What would he ask me? I mean, I'm not going to gloat.
No. You see him. You're face to face. Like, he was here. Do you say I didn't mean any disrespect, or do you say I was right? Like, what do you say?
I would say, Dad, what I said originally, I stand for, which is your son is top tier in expectations, in hype. Top tier of almost all time, with the possible exception of Gretzky. He hasn't lived up because he hasn't won a Stanley Cup. His stats are great.
Hasn't lived up to what?
Hasn't lived up to those lofty expectations and hype.
Expectations, yes.
He has to. Just finished his 9th season. He has to win a Stanley Cup. And I thought this postseason was a perfect mirror on his career, which is the stats are great. The numbers are great, particularly the assists. But what's missing? What's missing from this career?
I'm not here to argue against the topic, but I would say, like, if you look at the entire playoffs, the award is given to the most outstanding player. Like, literally no one did more for their team
I agree.
in pursuit of that cup. That's what they voted on.
That person, by definition, can't be overrated.
No, he can't.
That's not true.
Like, they didn't win the cup, but the voters just said, he did everything humanly possible to win that
They
cup.
said he's the best player in hockey. They said he's the best player in hockey.
They voted that nobody did more to help their team win a cup.
But they made that decision after Game 5 because he did nothing Game 6 and 7.
Right, nothing at all. He was disappeared in the last game.
Well said.
But what you should,
at least he didn't say it right into his hand while rubbing his face.
what
so
you
that
should
so
be
that would
saying,
muffled.
what you should be saying is who did the most to help his team win the Stanley Cup.
Wow. But that's not the award. That's not the award.
But I was saying earlier in the other room, there should be a NHL final, a Stanley Cup final MVP award. Okay? There should be both. Conn Smythe is fine.
They should listen to you.
They should.
In Greg's defense, Charles Barkley agreed with him last night on the broadcast.
A lot of people did.
Thank you.
I'll tell you.
Stephen A's doing it right now.
Going into the third period, Subban and Messier were, Subban especially, adamant that it should be Bobrovsky. I was stunned. Adamant that it should be Bobrovsky.
Yeah, no, that's true. PK said that?
He gave himself a little bit of wiggle room. He
Was
said if Connor wins it, I won't be that upset, but
Right.
it should be someone from a winning team.
Yeah, I think so too. Was PK wearing a bathrobe when he said it or no? I'm just curious.
Again, you cannot be right when the voters who have a winner's bias choose the loser to give the trophy to on. Here's your mere value, an independent measurement of your value. We think you're the best, even though you're the loser, and we have a winner's bias. Like you can't be a lot more wrong than that while still claiming to be right.
His talent jumps off the screen. You can tell he's the best player in hockey. That's not what Greg is saying. He's not even debating that. He's saying if you're going to be that great, you need to validate all of it with a Stanley Cup.
I think we're all clear on what Greg was saying. It's just after that playoff performance, on the heels of the greatest season in NHL history, arguably, my opinion of Connor McDavid has not diminished.
It's enhanced for me.
Yeah, I only think he's better.
I think it adds to the aura.
That.
It is not surprising that Stugotz would take the position. It is one of the few consistent ones that he has had. You are not validated in his eyes until you win a championship, and even if you do, as Kevin Durant, he will not validate you in his eyes unless you win the championship the way that he wishes for you to win the championship.
Stay in Edmonton.
So it's not surprising that Stugotz would side with Cody. Also not surprising that Cody would double and triple down on what is one of the more hackneyed things that can be done anywhere in sports journalism, which is to establish a rating that cannot be reached by any other raters, where you're putting the rating where it is that you want, and all the other raters are wrong because there's no way to actually measure the rating.
It could have been reached last night.
What you just said is complete bullshit. if Edmonton wins 2-1 last night, I'm standing right here going, he's properly rated. Okay, he has caught up to the expectation everybody had for
if they
him.
don't hit the post, and if Reinhart doesn't score a soft goal, then you're wrong.
What if Kulikov doesn't fall into the net defending the second
Things
goal?
that don't have anything to do with McDavid. McDavid was not on the ice when one of those things happened.
Welcome to sports.
Right.
We live by the bottom line. The puck did hit the pipe and didn't go in. Skinner did not stop the
That's because
Verhaeghe goal.
McDavid's overrated.
Greg
right?
is
That's
saying
why
they just
that
had to
happened.
win the game. McDavid didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to play. I mean,
Greg has actually been pretty consistent about this, and he hasn't deviated from it. So I get his point, and the way that we cover sports in this country is, Greg gets to be right tonight. I will say, though, in all of this, you mentioned Kevin Durant, who many people blamed Russell Westbrook early on in his career for his failings. If Connor McDavid is not in this series, all the hype gets attributed to Leon Draisaitl. Everyone calls Leon Draisaitl the best player in this series. You'd have the talking head say, is Leon Draisaitl the best player in hockey?
Right.
He did not show up this
No,
series.
he scored 0
is
goals.
worthy of criticism.
Right.
Greg, if you're still sticking to McDavid is overrated, they didn't win, he didn't show up in the last 2 games, doesn't that take away from the Panthers?
No, because the Panthers defended him. Because Barkov.
But that's the reason why it happened. Not because McDavid's overrated, because the Panthers did their thing.
Yes. I'm not taking anything away from the Panthers. They richly deserved it. And my co-MVP along with Bob would be Barkov, who proved for everyone that he's the 2-time.
You're giving it to two guys ahead of
instead of
McDavid.
McDavid.
Two guys.
Yeah, because they won a
They won the cup.
Co-MVP, yeah.
What about Reinhart's Stanley Cup winning goal?
No.
No.
He had a
gone
moment.
too far.
He had a disappointing final until last night, in my opinion.
Gone too far.
Game winner.
Yeah.
Greg
If you're the
Cody-
greatest of all time, the Panthers can't shut you down. That's Greg's point. And they did, so he's not the greatest of all time.
This was Connor McDavid's first final. This was his chance before the world, before North America at least, to prove that all of the hype is real. This is how good I am. I can lift a team that isn't quite as good as Florida, and I can make them Stanley Cup champions. He didn't do it, okay? Maybe that's harsh for some people. He's a great player who in almost 10 years hasn't won a Stanley Cup. Overrated, hasn't lived up to the hype. You know, the hype is way up here, but he has not lived up until he wins a Stanley Cup.
I just love the visual of Greg Cody telling Connor McDavid's father to his face his son is overrated.
He knows.
Does he?
Dad
Does
knows.
he?
Mr. McDavid knows.
That's why it hurts, Dan. You only get offended by things if they have a slight tinge of truth to them. And when he hears it, he's like, ooh, you know what? What you do is you go up to Mr. McDavid, you say, you raised a good boy. Not good enough.
Well, what's he going to do with the next 10-some-odd years of his career?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Is he going to win a Stanley Cup?
I mean,
We don't
puck's
know
in
that.
his court.
It's
as they
interesting.
say.
Like Ovechkin played in the same conference as the greatest player of his generation, Sidney Crosby. Ovechkin, great player, may catch up to Gretzky's record. He only had the one crack at it. He won it, but he only had the one chance. You can't take these things for granted.
Stugotz and I are laughing at the same thing together, which is just degree of difficulty on how it is hard to be as good as Connor McDavid. Like whatever it takes of all the world's skaters and people who do things professionally for money and fight for money, how hard it is to be McDavid. And
Too hard,
for Greg Cody to wander over with the criticism that's just lazy at his age, that he's overrated, and he can't even get through it without coughing. The criticism, he can't get through his criticism with his breath functioning properly to criticize one of the greatest athletes any of us have ever seen in a sport is just so sports media. It's just in general, the entire sports media capitalistic system, whereas I can't breathe, but I'm going to take money and attention off your greatness by diminishing you, even though my criticism can't come out without a cough.
But you're a top 1%er, Greg. You are essentially the Connor McDavid of local columnists. You can actually say these things.
Let me tell you what's ridiculous about what Dan just said, okay? Le Batard referred to my opinion as lazy, okay? A lazy opinion is one that everybody else has. Nobody else had this opinion.
This was bold.
He went out on a limb. Had this opinion. It is the opposite of a lazy opinion.
A brave opinion, really.
Take it back.
Take it back, Jack.
It's the coffee.
Take it back, Jack.
All right.
It's not a lazy opinion.
Okay.
Trust me.
All right.
Thank you for your bravery.
And just because I cough, talk about ageism.
For real.
I have asthma, and he's making fun of the fact that I cough.
I think that's
it's ridiculous.
sicknessism, not.
Do you still have your counsel?
ageism.
Unhealthism.
Yes. Have you responded yet?
I
Has your
haven't yet.
attorney responded?
I'm busy.
I want to be clear about a thing when I say it's a lazy take. If I were to somehow not be able in any form to explain to aliens 300 years from now what sports radio was at its dumbest, the argument and opinion I would put in there is someone is overrated or underrated. I don't know what else I'd put in there to rival. Maybe somebody should be fired. Somebody should not have their job anymore. That's why I say it's a lazy opinion.
Did he choke is a good one. Did he choke? That's good.
He did.
I've seen that on the lower third already.
So what are we supposed to do? Just give him the Stanley Cup because he had a good, half a playoff run and not celebrate the Panthers? I don't understand.
No, he's
so great, so let's just give him the Stanley Cup.
Not the Stanley Cup.
Why play the games? He's one of the best all time. Just give him a
All
trophy.
you have
He's
to
the
do
champion.
is not say Greg Cody is right. You don't have to give him
But he was
anything.
right.
He was right.
Was right.
You're literally trying to put a billboard saying that, though.
You guys are changing
You are
Greg's
trying
argument.
to do that. You are saying he is right.
That's
Talking on
because
both
that's
sides of
Shoving
the
words in
again,
his mouth. I mean,
again, it's why it's the joke I want to make. It's specifically the reason that this is the joke I want to make, because he's the most maximum wrong and gets to be right. It's amazing. It's the stupidity of this medium.
In all seriousness, that billboard's going to go up in Edmonton, and someone's going to burn it down.
Sure, yeah. They are going to vandalize that.
No. They're going to burn it down.
Yeah, Canada typically handles it that way.
Well, Canadians are too nice to vandalize.
Did you watch Vancouver after they lost to the Bruins?
Yeah, that's true, but that's in the east, isn't it?
No, very west.
It's in the west.
Very
Greg, go sit
west
in
as
the
you can
penalty.
get.
Greg, go sit in the penalty
I was
box.
thinking of Montreal.
It's east of Asia.
That's east.
I just got in here.
Go sit in the penalty box. You can't. That's east. Was
It
your
depends where your
argument?
starting point is.
East of the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
I was right, by the way.
All right.
I don't know whether you've heard
you
that.
mentioned
You were.
that. What we didn't get right, and I don't know what you guys can get for me in terms of information on this, because I would like to continue to cover this throughout the show today. I thought we were going to have billboards up already. I was dealing with this late on midnight last night, and then I'm told, our dimensions are wrong. Where are we on getting billboards up that I wanted up a week ago? This is not that hard. Like, what is the latest on why we can't get these things up in Edmonton? Why are the dimensions wrong? And when is this going up? Is it going up before the end of the show? Are we going to have a payoff before I'm in Africa?
Zaz, you have an update for him?
Yeah, I feel like Dan was looking at me for a lot of that.
Dimensions.
I don't understand.
Not on this assignment.
Why we're so incompetent as a group.
What does the billboard say?
Yeah.
Well, I think that should be a surprise.
Oh.
I
Well, then how do we know when it goes up?
It's an unveiling. Well, you'll know. You'll know.
All right.
Okay.
I just got word that we are fingers crossed that it goes up today.
Okay. There you go.
That'd be good timing.
Fingers.
I don't believe that Meadowlark has fingers. I will not believe it until I've seen them crossed. I will not believe that Meadowlark is an operation that has fingers, that comes complete with fingers.
You guys want to hear Roy drunk again?
Yeah, sure. Go
All
ahead.
right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield.
Let me
which is a
hear
couple
Charles
blocks down.
Barkley. Let me hear Charles Barkley not drunk, but you would understand if throughout South Florida, this was how people were describing what they believe should have been the winner of the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Sergei Bababka.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a
He
couple
can't
blocks
handle his
down.
liquor. He can't handle his liquor.
It's way worse just audio, because
right,
you can
we have-
really fixate on the slur.
All right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the
We
infield,
are
which is
made
a
it.
couple blocks down.
That's the billboard, right?
We are
made
it.
are made
All
it.
right, we have made it from Amarin Beck Arena to the infield, which is a couple blocks down.
You waited 30 years to say we are made it.
All right, we have
That billboard is going to be awesome. We are made it.
How did we feel about the cheering in the press box last night?
I love it.
Because
it was funny.
What do you mean?
Very professional.
That's an auxiliary press box, though. He was in actual seats. He wasn't
Really?
in the real press box.
So that's
Yeah.
different?
I think it's okay. Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
okay.
Zaslow allows it.
Allow it.
It was unusually emotional for Roy. I don't think any of us have ever seen him that happy. There are times in the drink where he gets a little exuberant and gets emotional, but I have not seen him as obviously happy as he was. And visually, the comedy team of Roy's Charisma with David Dwork, the comedy team. Stugotz muttered under his breath during one of the breaks here, that guy looks like a murderer.
I mean, he does.
Which one?
I mean, if there was a murdering spree throughout South Florida and Dwork's name, his face came up on the television, would you be surprised?
He let out a squeal when the Panthers won that I've never heard before. Because he's like super serious professional hockey, broad hockey news. That's David Dwork. Not when that clock hit
It was
double zero.
it was
Triple zero?
interesting
Quadruple
to
All the
hear
zeros.
and watch the objectivity thaw away from both a drunk Roy and an intoxicated by the feeling David Dwork.
All right, we have made it.
Scared around that guy.
He does look a little
Throwing a
murderous.
shave every now and again.
A little murderous, yes, he does. Roy says he was happy that he could now shave his playoff beard, which just grew in as playoff patches. did not. Little, small, tiny pieces of
He
real
was
estate.
growing a
yes, he says,
playoff beard? Really?
He says he was, yes, and he's happy that he can shave it. Is he now gone? Has he taken Stunt Danny and headed toward the elbow room to see if we can get Kachuk and Barkov and whoever else is? This is a perfect time. My God, those guys haven't slept. Fort Lauderdale right now has to feel and sound lovely, has to be sunny and warm, and they're going to be surrounded by at least 14 or 15 people out there once people find out they're at the elbow room. There aren't that many there right now.
Those people are just there.
Yeah, those are just people who would otherwise be at the elbow room, which are not people you want to be around on a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. if they're already at the elbow room. I don't think that's company anyone wants to be keeping. Sasso, did you sleep at all last night?
Yeah, but I obviously went to sleep late, and I had a really hard time falling asleep. If we lost, no chance I would have fallen asleep. It'd have been really, really rough. But yeah, I laid in bed for a while before I was able to fall asleep. I was so jacked up.
I'm wearing the same exact clothes I wore to the game. I was at the arena till 3, had a spicy McChicken.
Wow.
Set the alarm for 90 minutes from that moment and went to bed in this and got out of the bed and went on the train. I'm sweating my ass off.
I got home at 3 o'clock and watched the end of the game because I had recorded it. Just replayed it. Got to watch the final 10 minutes.
I do think being there is great, but I do think there are things
stuff.
you miss.
Yeah.
You miss a lot of the experience.
You watched
TV.
the puck up against the boards for 2 minutes?
Oh, McDonough. I heard they're tired. Look
Yeah.
how gassed they are. It was a cool call.
Yeah, can I say something about McDonough, too, real quick? He was getting a lot of criticism because he was really sick throughout the series. He was excellent last night. I really enjoyed the final call.
I think he's great in general. That sport's tough. It moves so fast. I don't think people know how hard it is to do that.
He was really upset about the criticism throughout the series.
I thought he was excellent, and I just don't know how anybody does that sport well. I'm telling you, when I watched, and this is not new, I mean, this has been hockey's gotten a ton better on television, but it's been a plague for a while how quickly the sport moves. The announcers always know before I do that the goal has been scored. They always get it, and it's the horn and some of the help that they have inside the arena. But I find very difficult listening to people try to do that sport because the fourth line's got a bunch of names that are tough to pronounce, and we're just skittering past them real quick because we got to get to the action on the other side of the ice.
And there's so much nuance in the game that is just like you pick up. If you're around the game for 10 years, you pick up something new every day, and tactics change. But think about this show. We have a larger ensemble, but we've talked over each other plenty. McDonough and Ferraro aren't in the same booth.
It's
Ferraro
amazing.
is on the ice.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's them too. They don't have nonverbal communication. Like, they have to have that chemistry down.
And they never get the numbers wrong either. Like in basketball, if you can memorize 7 or 8 guys on each team, you're going to know everybody's number. Everybody plays on the hockey bet. You got to know all 18 guys that are all over the ice for both teams. They never get it wrong.
Let's play for people the sound of McDonough at the end of that game, because I did think it was a good call, and I did think he was right to identify how tired the Oilers obviously looked.
20 seconds to go. One last gasp for Edmonton. Bouchard's pass didn't click with Draisaitl. 12 seconds to go. Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup.
One of the things, Stugotz, that I thought was interesting about that, as the puck was in the corner, and there were 2 Oilers, McDavid was one of them, skating in circles in front of Bobrovsky by themselves, and it was just like, yeah, that's not coming out of there.
Yeah.
We're not. That's going to stay in
But that's
there.
where they have to be.
If it did, oh boy.
No, I know, but
Bad news.
there were 5 Panthers in the corner with the puck, and it wasn't going to come out of there. That's where it was going to stay. It's where Edmonton's season was going to die. But McDavid was just skating in circles, exhausted in front of Bobrovsky.
You had to be the outlet. That's our Philly special.
Yeah.
You knew that once they went to the boards with 12 seconds left, that was it. They were Stanley Cup
It
champions.
was the perfect ending.
How about you get the puck? I mean, best player in the world.
There you go. Instead of skating around the net, how about you go get
Waiting
the puck?
for someone to bring it to you.
That's a really unfortunate take by you guys.
Greg,
not how the game's taught.
Can you give us your honest, because you left here yesterday, I want your honest appraisal of what the last week has been like for you. If you've seen, you told me leaving here yesterday, Dan, I'm sorry, I'm just generally more emotional about everything these days than I usually am. But you sent us an enough is enough email over the weekend, and clearly the battering that you were taking seemed from where I was standing like it was a little bit scary and uncomfortable, and I felt like you were hiding behind a bunch of bravado. I feel like you were scared that was going to result in Panther fans blaming you for the loss for eternity.
Well, had they...
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.